Welcome to For the Fans. My name is Kevin and I'm here with CJ. We're here to talk about Big Brother 26 Week 10 HoH with the 5 PMers here in the building. CJ, what a week we just had. What a week we are having.
You know, it's funny because this season there hasn't been a dominant alliance. It's been a lot of like duos and trios working together. It's
Mhm,
been so messy. It's been fun.
mhm. The
Like
best part, the
the
best
good
part
way.
about it is with duos and trios, you get like we talked about voting, like almost voting blocks, but they're like locked in together, like interlocked.
Yeah. It's funny because it's like, okay, well, this duo is over here and they're working together, and this trio's over here and they're working together, and this trio. And I'm like, I'm watching as they go back and forth and they talk amongst themselves. And as we get into it this week, like Mackenzie could have flipped the house on its head, and she did a very safe thing with her noms.
Yeah, well, let's finish up last week because, as you know, we're doing about this one show a week
Yep.
now, and so we do get a Mackenzie HOH. But before we get to the Mackenzie HOH, we have to wrap up Leah's week because when we last left you, me and you, Siege, we were talking about T Core and Rubina going on the block. T Core and Chemo, no, T Core and Rubina be on the block together um, during the spoiler section, which everybody saw come to fruition on the veto episode. Um, with T Core being on the block, she had to go home.
Had to.
Like it was the only option. First off, shout out to Tasha in the chat. Good to see you, Tasha. Um, we're here just talking about the week. So if T Core had to go up, T Core had to go home. She had the best option to win the game. And let's talk about T Core's last days. She was stuck out there in Janky World Siege.
Miserable place to be.
It's a terrible place. And being in Janky World, as we know, pizza, ice cream, dance parties, the whole nine, but
Sing-alongs.
sing-alongs, but there was never really a chance to work the game. So if she had any kind of chance to get out of it, it was not really strong to do that. What did you think of T Core's last days?
I think she saw the writing on the wall. She's smart enough to realize that, like, once she got backdoored, they of the three, she was going home because
Right.
why would you put her up on the block if you weren't immediately sending her out? She knew that somebody from her trio was going already because, Chemo and Rubina were already on the block. And realistically, as we talk about it more this episode, all three of them have to go home because if even one makes it, they have 2 votes sitting in jury.
Right. Right.
So, and they're tight in a way that the other trio is not, in a way that Leah and Angela probably are not. So it's like, okay, we're going to take out T Core first because she's the perceived leader and probably most likely to win. But you
Mm-hmm.
still need to take out the other two
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You can't
because,
just leave them unchecked.
yeah, like you can't let somebody make it to final 2 who has a guaranteed 2 votes against you. It doesn't make any sense.
The especially in the 7-person jury, right? It only
Yeah.
takes 3 to win it all. So having 2 definite votes against you is not going to be a positive situation for you. You know what I'm saying? So if you send one, you got to send them all. The thing that's interesting is that I think for like Aaliyah HOH, obviously is a half measure.
Yes.
And no matter what she did, I feel like she was going to be in a bad situation.
Leah, like, because it was 2 trios when she was HOH, she had to target a trio. I don't fault her for what she did as far as taking one of them out, but I think that the better move for her, had she been able to activate her veto, would have been to put up Chelsea and T Core, because as long as one of them goes, it's fine. And you
Mhm.
probably need to get rid of Chelsea more than T Core at this point because Chelsea has Mackenzie and Cam's ears, and Mackenzie at least has proven that she can win stuff.
it was interesting because Taron Armstrong, who is a Big Brother podcaster on Rob has a podcast, knows a lot about this game. He said something that I thought was very clever that that Leah did not do. He said the best move would have been to put up Chelsea versus T-Core.
Yes.
Then you have both groups, instead of being mad at you, which they both will be, they're lobbying to each other about trying to get you to break the tie in their favor, i.e., have Angela vote in their favor.
Yes.
And so then that pulls that other group that you save to you. So you keep a trio, but now you have them having your back because they're like indebted to you. Whereas, and we see here, T-Core and Rabina being up, one of them is going to stay. And when one of them stays, which is Rabina, T-Core told Rabina and Chemo, stick with Chelsea.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it in my house. You put up one person from each trio, and then if they use the veto, you just replace them with the person of their trio. If somebody from their trio wins the veto and saves them, you put up the third person. So they're constantly pitted against each other.
Correct.
Because you want them to start their infighting now so that when you come off like when you can't compete next week, hopefully they're taking shots at each other.
Right, because they voted, because then you get like a 3-2 vote, and it is Angela with whoever, Rubina and Kima voting this vote out Chelsea, Cam and Mackenzie voting out T-Core, and then when T-Core stays, you have us 5 versus you 2 that are left, and also it then minimizes Leah's target, Leah and Angela's target, because they're like, okay, well that trio is still here.
Yes.
If, like, let's say Mackenzie and Cam win, they're going to try to regain power by getting Angela and Leah to come back to their side, because that trio is still trioing.
And it's funny because Mackenzie, Cam, and Chelsea being a trio, they're the strongest trio in the game. Obviously, they're the only trio left, but also like they're probably the 3 biggest physical threats right now. Leah's probably a bigger physical threat than Chelsea, but as far as all around different types of comps,
I don't know, man. She played basketball. And that's not even a joke. She played ball at Biola, so.
Oh, I know, but Leah has done pretty well in a couple of endurance comps now, including winning one.
I don't know how much Chelsea's sandbagging. TBH.
She's not sandbagging as much as Joseph, who is still sandbagging outside of the house now. But like, I feel like Leah had a golden opportunity here to take out Chelsea, who has been essentially running the game, because everyone was on the same page that if T-Core makes it to the end, she's going to win. But she was only going to win because they liked her, not because she was necessarily strategizing or doing a whole lot. Chelsea has been, pulling the strings behind the scenes. And the fact that nobody is targeting her is enough of a reason for you to target her.
Yeah. And one thing I thought was interesting, and I don't remember this being in the episode, but I did see this on feeds. When T-Core was up, T-Core, and this is going to help, by the way, my rankings. T-Core and Rubina was like, let's change it. Let's have good people, a good person win. And don't let someone win based on the way, like, not based on the way they play, but people that played like that, I don't want to win.
Yeah.
And the like that were people, they were tired of Leah. They're tired of Angela. They said they didn't play the games the way they would want someone to win.
I mean, that's your own personal perception. I don't think Leah or Angela have really done enough to win either, but I don't think Rubina has.
But see, you just said that's based on your personal perception. You are correct. There are 7 members of the jury, though. Yeah. And T-Core and Rubina are 2 of the 7. You need 4 votes to win. 3 votes. They probably could tell Chemo as well, we want a good person to win. That's 3 votes not going to Leah or Angela.
And that's what makes Chelsea so dangerous right now.
Yeah.
Is when you take out T-Core and T-Core's minions go to Chelsea. If you get all of them out, Chelsea now has 3 votes. So you have to take her out too. And that's like, I like, as much as I'm worried about there being 2 votes in jury if one of the 3 makes it, I'm even more nervous if Chelsea makes it because there's 3. And she seems to think she has Cam in her back pocket. So that's already 4, which means
That's
I
enough.
can't win. I can't win.
Yeah.
So she has to go. And I don't know why nobody is doing this math. And like, you see it last week when Chelsea and Leah are going back and forth, and they're not sharing any information with each other, which means neither of them trust each other. So why don't you take the shot? Because we already know you don't trust her.
Right. Correct. And that's why it's interesting, because that was the optimal move for her, putting up T-Core next to Chelsea. And she doesn't do well in the Janky Vito comp. She doesn't really care. She should have done these noms straight away. But
She should have.
She didn't. And so T-Core ends up going home. She does one final look back. Then she's out of here, right? Julie's questioning, one of the big questions I saw was that Julie was asking about was it a bad move to take out Tucker? T-Core danced around it.
She gave a politician answer. It was actually really good non-answer.
I would have said, nah, man. Like, I would have been real with it. Tucker had a really good chance of winning this game, I felt like.
I feel like Tucker had already made a bunch of power moves and had already shown that he can win a lot of comps in a row. Like, it wasn't that long ago we were talking about the ability of this dude to win out. And there was like 12 people in the house. That's crazy.
Correct. So it taking him out, I would have just been like, if I'm T-Core, I would have been like, nah, I had to do it. Julie, like, yeah, it would have been good. He might have got us a little bit further, but he was a little bit of a loose cannon, and obviously he would have picked Rubina over me. And me and Rubina got really close in there, and it would have been hard for us to get closer if Tucker's there getting close with her too. So
right.
That's why I would have said something like that. But then we get back to Janky World, CJ, and Janky says he has a new thing planned. They have another pass for a week to Janky World for more pizza parties, more ice cream, more death, because it was the end.
I'm not gonna lie, that was
Janky World.
We talked about Beyonce overacting a few weeks ago. And that's what I was thinking of when I was watching Janky's death.
Janky's death performance, the cry, the circuit break, the fall, the smoke coming out the top of Janky to symbolize his death. Wow.
the montage, which
the in memoriam.
So, you know what my favorite like lasting image of this season is probably going to be?
What?
Is Chelsea staring into the camera in the poncho outside singing the Janky song. She looks so miserable. And I'm like, yeah, that's why we never need to do Dire Fest again.
Never need
Look at how miserable she looks.
Yeah. It was wild, man. Watching Janky die like that.
I think their facial expressions said it all when they were like, what is happening?
And then Ainsley comes back and is like, hey, I shall rule the world. And I'm like, oh, shit.
Right?
Oh, shit.
If they hadn't already been in the house to do the comp, I would have been wondering at that point, did they like change out the house, retheme it or something like that? And that's why they kept them out all week.
Because of the Hotel California situation, you can never leave.
Yeah. Such a lovely place.
Oh, man. It was... Ainsley's wearing all red. She's in all red. You know what I'm saying? Red
Evil
and...
Ainsley.
Yeah, Evil Ainsley. I thought they were just going to say she had like sunburn. But she was like, he was a scourge on our race. Like, it was very dark. It was very dark.
And after all that overacting, I'm like, where are we going with this? Like, Is Ainsley about to like open fire on the cast right here?
I wasn't sure. I was very surprised how dark they went with it, but I was cool with it. Like it's not like I was like they shouldn't have done that, but it was just I was like, dang.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Like really, y'all really taking care of Janky like this. So,
I mean, I'm not gonna
what,
miss him.
yeah, I was gonna say, what are your thoughts on Janky, CJ?
I probably would have liked Janky a lot more if they didn't make them stay outside all week.
Yeah,
Because there's like I understand that like you only get pizza and ice cream. They could have did that inside the house and still had them somewhat comfortable. The fact that they were outside in the elements just made them pissed off at each other. You saw that with Cotgate. And like from how y'all described it and then from what they showed, it was very much edited down because it seemed like there was some real vitriol there.
Do
But
you
yeah,
think?
Jakey's last days were terrible.
Do you think they like this twist?
I think the producers like this twist. I don't think viewers like this twist.
It broke them down to like deeper parts of themselves. Tasha, let us know in the chat. Did you like? How do you feel about the making them live outside? Dire Fest 2.0, Dire Fest 1.0. I don't love it. You don't get good feeds. They don't really have room to move around and do stuff. I did like the idea of Dire Fest when you split the two groups in like the haves and the have-nots.
That
I
was
did
cool.
that. I didn't like them having to live outside, but if you have people live upstairs and people live downstairs,
Yeah, like if you, I don't know, like removed the stairs and then you have the people upstairs in the HOH room plus the have not room plus the little couch room there. That's all they got. And
yeah.
then the other people get all of downstairs. Like, I don't see a problem with that.
And Tasha's right here. She says she thought it was the worst. You can't game when you're in this kind of situation, and that's truly the biggest problem with it. I think because like you said, out in the elements, there's things that people are doing that you just hate. You just hate, and you don't want to deal with.
But that's why we got so many fluff segments last week in general. Like, you got the whole segment of them, quote unquote, losing their mind.
Mm-hmm.
You get Cotgate on the eviction episode because like they weren't talking game. There wasn't a whole lot to discuss. It's just a lot of like dance party, pizza party. It's funny at first, but it's not good. It doesn't make for good television.
Right.
Although I was kind of hoping right before Julie told T-Core she was evicted, they were going to call for a dance party or something.
I'll just say, nah, not right now, Jinky. Not right now.
Or like when she goes, "Hello, house guest," and like starts talking to him, call for an
Yeah.
ice cream party,
Ice cream
and then
party.
and then show whatever you were going to show.
Yeah, and then have them eating ice cream while they're sitting there.
Yeah.
I think the outdoors living twist not great at all. I'm just trying to like put into words because like I like the concept of trying to give them a different look, but having them do it for a full week, they don't want to do anything else. They don't want to play.
If you make me live outside for a week, I'm self-evicting. Like, I'm done. I don't do that. Especially with that heat wave. And like it was only the mid 90s, and I say only the mid 90s because we live in Vegas, so like life doesn't stop till it hits 107. But if I got to
Right.
live outside in that, like I can only spend so much time in the pool. There's not that much shade.
Correct.
I'm gonna be mad.
And then we're just in the pool the entire time. Come on, fam.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to do that.
So I'm just gonna self-evict. You found a way to make me give up 750,000. It's not that much money anyway. That's what I would be saying as I walked out the door.
It ain't worth this. It ain't worth this.
And you add into the fact, like we talked about a little bit, they're in the flight path to LAX, which means there's a plane going over like every 45 seconds, which means you can't sleep. You can't really chat. You can't I'm just sitting here being mad.
And like Tasha said, it's too hot in the morning. So during the day, it was too hot. Then, as you know, in California, it gets cool. It gets really cool. And like you got that little jacket, the little janky jacket, that janky little jacket. And that's kind of it. I think y'all are right. Janky World was a miss.
It's
It was
gotta
a
go.
miss.
It's
And
gotta
it's
go.
tough because the season was cooking. And so, you get what you get. Speaking of cooking, though, CJ, was the return of an old staple this week. The Zingbot is back.
Yup.
Man. So Zingbot came back and roasted these motherfuckers. But not as always, not all zings are created equal.
There's always a song, and there's always one zing that's just a little too personal. And it's like you could tell, all right, who do the producers and the staff not like because they get the mean zings.
You think that's what it is?
I think so. I think it's the people that they're like, yeah, we don't like them, so like let's go in on them. Like maybe they cry a little too much when they're doing their confessionals, or maybe that they're not easily influenced into doing what they want them to do. But I feel like every season, you get that one zing that was like, oh damn, that was mean and not funny.
I think so. Like last year, one of the meanest things was Corey Wharton Burgers.
Yes.
America, your name is so patriotic, it makes me want to sing a song the whole country can get behind. Corey's not beautiful under any skies. Short like a piece of gray. A thin mustache, if you call it that. It causes my eyes pain. America, America, did you have a lobotomy? He's a tiny man, can't get worth a damn. Let's throw him in the sea.
Zing.
You know what the word? Hey, you know what though? Zingbot, Corey and America are still together. So take that. Suck it, Zingbot.
I feel like someone on production had a crush on America and was jealous. That's what that was.
Well, this season we got some zings, right? I think the best zings, we're gonna go through them because this is some of our favorite times here. We like to talk about the zings. I think only 3 of them are really good.
I think that 2 of them were good. I think a few of them were meh or fine. And then I think poor Chelsea, like that was personal.
Brutal. So like, okay, so I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna go through the things. I'm gonna start with the ones I think are the lamest first, and
Okay.
I'm gonna ratchet up how I felt it was. Okay, so first one, lame. Chemo. It's great news that you're a mattress salesperson, since every time you're on the show, you put viewers to sleep. Zing. I sending all my aloha. Zing. Lame.
It was lame, but it's kind of true. Like Chemo doesn't really do a whole lot except complain that he's on the block.
But I mean, he's on the block all the time.
I know, and that's why I'm going to sleep. Oh, Chemo's on the block? Okay. I mean, we had an episode earlier this season where we were trying to recount who's around the pool table, and Chemo was right there, and I forgot he was there.
That's true. I was at your house. We looked right there at him. You were like, "Yeah, there's another person." I said, "Chemo, he's right there."
Yeah. You know why? Because I had fallen asleep.
The next boring one, Cams. Now I'll take you all on a guided meditation. You must have no thoughts in your head, no impact on your surroundings whatsoever, and never say anything of substance. I call this technique the cam. A zing.
I felt like that was accurate. And maybe it wasn't funny because it was just true.
No, because even if it's true, it's funny. That's where the comedy is. Comedy is when things are at least a little bit true.
I mean,
I thought that was,
like Tasha said, Cam's responses in the DR is what made that zing funny when he was like, I'm not doing anything. Okay, that's on me. But the other two,
Yeah.
the other two,
No thoughts in your head? Come on,
yeah.
bro. Come on, bro. Nothing of substance? Come on, bro.
I'm not
All
gonna
right.
lie though, Dire Fest, aka Janky World, it's the first time Cam has shown any personality this season.
I think that's it. I think he's intentionally being muted. Like I think he's muting himself.
You think he's just there to hang out?
Like playing it down, like playing down his like abilities.
We're not on the topic, but I felt like he was definitely playing down during the puzzle for the HOH comp because my god, that was bad.
Yeah, it was pretty. His HOH performance was tough. But the dude's got to start winning soon. I think maybe
Does he though?
he's starting to seem this to feel useless. I got something in the spoilers for you that I thought was really funny. I'll tell you about that later.
Well, he talked. One thing is that I believe it was Angela that talks about Cam being a floater, and he's not a floater because he does have a couple ride or dies with him,
right.
but
He
he's
doesn't
not
just float to
doing anything.
power.
Yeah, but he's not
He's a
doing anything.
coaster.
He's a coaster.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Floaters versus coasters. Floaters should get respect. Coasters, not so much.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, those are terms that are like used in the Big Brother community. Floaters, floaters used to be people that just floated along in the game. But like after Andy Herron, who was probably played one of the top 5 best games ever, he was a rat floater. He would float to the power and route out everybody that was in. He had everything he had just learned from the last people that were empowered. Rat floating is a thing. Floating went from just floating and just floating around, which is Rachel Riley say floaters grab a life vest. It became a technique because you float to whoever's in charge.
Yeah.
And
you need me to vote for whoever? I got you.
Whatever. It was the Sandra Diaz Twine, anyone but me. Sandra Diaz Twine won Survivor twice. Her whole strategy was I don't give a damn who goes home, as long as it's not me.
It's funny because when Sandra won her first season, like I haven't gone back and watched, but when she won her first season, I was very confused how she won because I felt like she wasn't doing anything. She was just kind of bouncing around. But then when I watched her win Heroes versus Villains, I'm like, oh, that's like a valid strategy. That shit works.
Because like if that's, I mean, Big Brother should, in my opinion, be played more like that. Because when you are hanging out and you're like, oh, 2 people can go home, you gotta just not give a fuck which one it is.
And it's funny. I think Big Brother's a little bit different because of the longer timeline. That at a point, being a floater is a valid strategy because when I'm making my choices at like 12, well, who do I want to hang out with for 8 more weeks? And that's going to influence my vote. Versus at this point in the game, when I know there's like 3-4 weeks left, now I'm starting to worry about who can win. So I think floater is a very valid strategy to get to jury.
Yeah. And to even like continue through it. Like positioning yourself to be able to go to wherever the power is. Like Leah's been playing a floater game.
Yes.
Right? Leah, whoever's in charge, Leah's kind of like cozied up to. She sits in there. Mackenzie was playing like a low-key floater game too.
She was earlier, but you notice that as she cozied up to Chelsea and Cam, she stopped seeing her name come up for the block.
She was like, is this how you do it? Is this how you stop getting suggested? You like meet a group and then stay with that group?
Yeah. It kind of reminds me, like pulling from another show again, but it kind of reminds me of Bananas in the Challenge. And I'm going to compare Bananas to Chelsea here, where Bananas has been around for so long that he basically ranks his friends as he goes. So he's like, it's Leroy and it's Tony. And then it's, like Wes had even made it onto his list. And if you guys watch the challenge, you know that like Wes and Bananas are mortal enemies, but Wes had made it. Yeah, he had made it onto Banana's protect list. And Chelsea has that same kind of list where it's like, okay, like you're my number 4. So we're going to make sure that your name doesn't come up until there's 4 of us. Then you could go. And this kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. This is why Chelsea needs to go because she's calling the shots.
And that's why it's interesting because we're going to get to Chelsea's game in a little bit. I have way more to say about Chelsea. Let's get back to these zings because I forgot like the worst zing of them all. The wackest one was Mackenzie's. I have a scary 100%. Story to tell you about a beast of Big Brother, disgusting creature's giant feet to snap your spine, this massive jaw, grip your head clean off. And eyewitnesses claim this monster has 12 feet tall. Oh shit, there it is. Oh wait, it's just Mackenzie. Like, meh, terrible.
I feel like that zing was we don't have anything mean to say, so let's just say
absolutely nothing. Stupid. Yep, we have absolutely nothing on you. We have nothing that you've done. We could have talked about you being a cuddle monster or some shit like that. That's kind of it.
I think that zing tells me that Mackenzie will be on the challenge if she wants to be. Mackenzie will be back for All-Stars because they seem to do All-Stars every 7 seasons, which means we're looking at All-Stars in 2 years. If Mackenzie wants to be there, she will probably be there.
I don't know. I don't know about an All-Stars pick, but it seemed like they just had nothing.
I think it means that Grodner likes her.
Is Alison Grodner still running the show? I think she is, yeah. So yeah. Maybe. I'm not putting too much stock in it. It just wasn't a lot. It just wasn't a lot for me. Now we're getting to like better ones, right? Leah's. Oh, by the way, Tasha said she thought Cuddle Monster is funny. Here in the chat. See, I'm writing better things and I'm just chilling. Like I'm coming off the top. You know what I'm saying? But
zing.
It's just funny. Okay. You ready for this? Leah, I hear that you're a certified chubby chaser. Like, I just immediately certified pedophile just came in my head from Kendrick.
So now Leah,
gotta fuck him up.
Leah and Zingbot have beef. We're about to get 37 tracks in the next week.
Diss track after diss track. Can't come back. There's no second chances here.
Side note, while we're talking about that, I was in Italy when all of that shit went down. So I come back after 2 weeks and I'm like, what happened? Why are Drake and Kendrick like they went scorched earth on each other and I had to catch up. I was so confused.
They not like us, you know. If y'all haven't heard it, y'all listen to it. Y'all should have heard this everywhere. Kendrick Lamar is probably the biggest song. Not the most important song, but it's probably the biggest song now.
And we're gonna hear it at the Super Bowl next year.
Yeah, you maybe 3-4 times. Who knows?
Yep.
Leah, I hear that you're a certified chubby chaser. So your dream guy would be overweight and a certified a dummy chaser. Zing, 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 zing. The reason I put that one here is because kind of cold, but not too cold.
No, I think it was funny. You called her dumb. Whatever. Leah knows she's not smart, so it's whatever.
She said she's not the smartest crayon in a box.
I'm not gonna lie, my wife laughed at that because she was like, "That's not the saying."
Correct.
Said, hey, she's not.
She's trying.
She's also not the sharpest spoon in the tool shed.
Yeah. Just mixing all the idioms. You know, do what you got to do. What you can. So these 3 are the ones that I thought were the best. Before we do, Sheldon says she doesn't think Leah's dumb. I don't think she's that smart, though.
I think she's a ditz. There's nothing wrong with being a ditz.
She's like, whatever. But, CJ, here's the 3 that I thought were the best. Number 3. Here's a love limerick I wrote. There once was a man named Tucker. And Rubina told him to pucker. But once they kissed, the house got pissed. And then they evicted that fucker. Let's go. Kiss of the death. Zing. You got your showman's evicted. A zing. A zing. I thought this one was good.
It was a good one. I think that the profanity is what really sold it for the house
Oh,
guests.
obviously. Listen, when the moment he said there once was a man named Tucker, I'm like, motherfucker or fucker needs to be in here somewhere.
It has to
It's
be.
gotta be.
Has to be.
It gotta be. And then sure enough, for you to be able to get that on the end, I thought that was great.
Do you think Tucker was crying at home like Angela?
No, he was probably laughing. Sheldon said it was sad because it was less of a thing on repeating more on Tucker. Yeah, but like that's the hard part, Sheldon, is that Tucker was a lot of to do with Robina's TV show persona.
Yes, and I think it's funny that like her entire zing was about him because he's no longer in the house. But it's not like they can say anything about her after because the zing was not about her.
Correct. Correct. You just keep it pushing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now,
It's she basically dodged the zing while everyone else got pie on their face.
now the second worst zing to me was Angela's.
Worst
In
or
my
best?
opinion. Well, they're all really good when they're mean. But Angela, I wrote a song that's just like you, an annoying oldie. First off the bat, bravo, Zingbot. That was cold. Check it out. Angela is melting down, melting down, melting down. Angela is melting down and can't stop crying. When he hit that line right there, Angela's trying to like dance it off as if like it's chill. And you're like, oh, got him. And then that's when the thing about like,
Yes.
verse 2, obsessed with men half her age, half her age, half her age, obsessed with men half her age. That's so creepy. I was like, damn.
And that's when she started melting down.
Yeah.
Melting down, melting down.
Yeah. That's crazy, CJ.
What's up?
Verse 3. Wants to prove she'll win the game. Win the game. Win the game. Wants to prove she'll win the game. Never gonna happen. Woohoo! That's a zing. I was like, oh, body. Just getting body. Like that was
I'm really glad that they did that one after Chelsea's because Chelsea's like brought the mood of the room down.
Dude, silence on this one. I'm about to tell you, the one with Chelsea. This is why Chelsea's was the coldest.
Oh, it was
the coldest.
It was hurtful. But then this one, like Angela's the first one. The first verse, I was like, okay, like she can laugh it off. She knows she cries a lot, whatever. And then the second verse came, I'm like, oh, okay, like we're going in on Angela a little bit. This is funny. And then the third verse hit, and then that's when I like just dead.
Wait, and then when you hear at the end, never gonna happen. Like, damn.
You know the super hot fire with the
yeah.
That was what I thought.
That's the meme. That's the meme face.
Yes.
What was the thing about said? I'm not a rapper, but I'm not a rapper. Super hot fire, man. That was so good. Like, crushed her.
They had to do a segment about her being in her feelings because of the zing.
Yeah,
that's how
they
good
had
it
like
was.
they had a little mini segment right after because she was like, and she's sitting on the couch, 1,000-yard stare, and then Leah's like, Angela, we don't think you're that. We don't think you're creepy. I was like,
damn, in her feelings, they got her.
Let's see, this is the worst one. He says to Chelsea, I admire your faith, but unfortunately, you don't have a prayer with Cam. Awkward zing. I was like, there was no laughing. There was zero laughing. Zero laughing. Mouths just open. Mouths just agape.
Well, it's the like, when there's like a secret in the friend group, but nobody talks about it, even though everybody knows.
Yeah.
And then somebody says it out loud, and it's like, oh, we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
That's what happened. And my favorite part was Cam coming over and giving her a hug. He's like, oh, don't worry, you have a chance. And my wife looks at me and goes, if he really thought she had a chance, he would tell her she has all the chances, which means she has no chance.
Ethered. She got ethered. Like there was nothing.
Where does this rank? Where does that zing rank amongst diss tracks? Is it up there with Ether?
Which one was your Ether? Not Like Us. Chelsea Zing ranked them 1 to 3.
Because like my personal favorite diss track is the game's 300 Bars and Running, and that this one was up there for me.
So this is below Loose Change. This is way below Loose Change. Loose Change was terrible comparatively from Ja Rule. I have to put hit him up is iconic, right?
Yes.
Hit him up is iconic. So I think if I'm just free balling over here. Hit him up number 1. Okay, top 5. So hit him up number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, Ether. Number 3, This Zing. Number 4.
I would switch the first 2 with the second number.
Hit him up. So you have Ether by Nas. Number 2, Tupac. Hit him up. Number 3, Zing from Zingbot on Chelsea. Number 4, Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar. Number 5, Loose Change. Our Loose Change probably off the list. You got 300 bars.
Ridiculous.
Now I'm sad to hear Tasha said in the chat that she cried a little bit later. That's tough. But she took it like a G when it happened, and that is true. That is true. Because she took it in stride. It was hurtful though. That one hurt.
It's funny because we're still talking about diss tracks. The Angela one is like Drake's back to back.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of people don't know that's a diss track. And it mainstream, super popular, great one, whatever. This one was personal.
I mean, I don't even remember. Was he decent Meek? I guess that was Meek Mill, yeah?
Yeah.
I can't even remember. Like because that beef was like inconsequential and it wasn't as drawn out and it wasn't as close to like right now, right? Not Like Us. I don't know. I don't know if we're talking about that as a diss track outside of the fact that like I don't know how much other Drake songs you're talking about during that thing. You know that Kendrick ended it with that. Back to back, fantastic. This right here, that Angela track, that was very similar to Back to Back, but this was Not Like Us. This was a little bit better than Not Like Us.
Oh yeah. It's like Sheldon says he has no clue what we're talking about. Think of it this way. Back to back.
The 5 p.m. sometimes we get into black stuff. So
Back to Back was like massive on the radio. It's a crossover hit. It's a pop song. Everybody loved it.
It's from Drake. It was your Canadian. It was in Drake. You probably heard it. You probably heard it there in Toronto.
Yeah. So like Back to Back is mainstream. Ether, not mainstream. You got to be a little bit of a hip hop head.
So Ether. So just real quick, Jay-Z, Nas, they had a beef.
This
Who's king in New York? Yeah, who's king in New York? Nas dropped Ether, just destroyed Jay-Z on that track. Keep going.
Yep.
Hit him up. Hit him up was Tupac, Biggie, back and forth, East Coast, West Coast. And hit him up. He talks about fucking Faith Evans. It was tough. That was Biggie's wife. It was crazy.
And the Chelsea one was equally crazy. Awkward silence.
Chelsea camp. They had some beef right there in the Big Brother house. Like, Zingbot came through, hit Chelsea with the Zingbot verse. You saw what happened there. Then Kendrick and Drake. Then Kendrick and Drake. They have.
No, this was like Kendrick getting everybody to hop on his tracks to diss Drake too.
I think Sheldon copied and pasted some lyrics. But this is it. I got the drink in me going back to back. Yeah, going back to back. Like you see the spacing, I think he copied and pasted.
Oh,
but it's cool. It's cool because I'm glad you know what we're talking about. Thanks for finding this, Sheldon. That's exactly what this was. Do you think Zingbot could take out Drake? I think so. I think Zingbot could kill Drake too in the verse.
Probably.
Yeah. And that's kind of what this Angelo one was. You're right. It was like back to back. But Chelsea's one was deep. That one hurt deep. Touched on her face, everything. That was rough.
It was rough. Like, there was stunned silence in my house.
Those stunned silence in the Big Brother house. Hey, y'all, in the chat, let us know what were your top 3 things. If we got them right, let us know in the chat while we are going through. CJ, just like the show, I'm gonna quickly go through MJ's HOH rank. Okay, because they like zoomed it in like the last like 5 minutes of the segment.
Just because nothing happened.
So MJ won HOH, coming out of Janky World. She had to put together a puzzle. When I left the episode, Angela looked like she was up. Angela drops her pieces. End of the day, top 3 in no particular order were Rubina, Angela, Mackenzie. Mackenzie won. Same verse, same as the first. Next verse, same as the first. Chemo Angela, we bring him back on the block. Round 3.
It's got to be frustrating to be in the house and just know that you're going to be a pawn so that they can blindside somebody when vetoes come. I mean, like, we've used the veto at every point this season. So if you're volunteering to be a pawn, you're probably comfortable.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know why you want to be a pawn when there's 7 people left in the house.
Yeah.
I don't mind being a pawn when, like, I don't want to be a pawn, but I'm not as worried about being a pawn when there's 16 people and they have the AI competition. I'm not being a pawn at 7.
But at this point, I'm not asking for pawns. You two have been pawns the entire time. So take your pawn asses right on the block, and then I'm gonna figure out what I want to do after that.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of how it is. And like
at a point when you tell someone they're a pawn, you're telling them, I don't care if you go home.
I don't
like, if
value
you're collateral damage. Yeah, if you're collateral damage, you're collateral damage.
If something happens and you're out of here, you're out of here. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, Tasha's right in the chat. Pawns go home, but like when Chemo's been on the block like 6 times, and Angela's been on the block like 7 or something like that.
How many times have we hopped on this podcast and I said, if I was HOH, I will put Angela up and I'll put whoever up, and I'll be like, yeah, you're a pawn, but Angela is my target. And then Angela will come in the house. I'd be like, Angela, you are my target.
It's like it's a Pontius Pilate situation, right? You just try to like leave it to the people, and you just like say, I don't care what happens here. Do you guys want Jesus or Barabbas? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it's the same type of situation. And Ed's talking about you're not avoiding getting blood on your hands at this point, and you're right to a degree, Ed, because you're going to get that blood. Your hand's going to be bloody, but if you have a chance to put up 2 people while you're still deciding what you're going to do, why not take that? And in this case, MJ really wants Angela to go home. Maybe for Matt? Question mark. I don't really know.
I feel like MJ is looking at Angela the way that I've been talking about Angela, where if you let Angela make it to the final 2, you're winning 7-0. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't want someone who she deems worthy of making the final 2 getting eliminated because somebody wants to sit next to an easy vote. And I think that's her thought process. I don't think she's right. And we're going to talk about it when we get to spoilers. But I understand why she's doing it. Because, like, as the champion of Angela needs to go home this week, putting her up on the block next to Chemo seems like an uninspired choice.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to talk about why until we hit spoilers.
the situation, like, is it? Do you think she's still just because she talks about on the not on the show, but she talks about in her to people that this is her getting that she's been wanting Angela gone since week 2.
Yes.
Is this a justice for Matt situation?
I don't think so because I don't think Mackenzie is like holding on to that Matt injustice. I think Mackenzie is just like, people got to go home. I don't care if it's Angela.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which is funny because, like, no one trusts Angela. No one's trying to work with Angela. And she probably could work with Angela at least a little bit because Angela is still in the honeymoon phase of, oh, you saved me. She hasn't thrown her under the bus yet. So maybe Mackenzie's trying to get ahead of that because that's what Angela does. She gets on the block. Someone uses the veto on her. She proceeds to throw that person under the bus. We are here. She's not trying to get here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, Chemo and Angela go up on the block. Everybody planning to vote out Angela this time. For real this time. Chemo is literally a pawn. And the Chelsea Cam contingent, the T-Core's Remnants contingent, lockstep. Yep. They're going to be 3-1 vote right here. With Leah being on the outside.
Yes.
That's the current plan. Do you think this is a good move for Mackenzie?
No.
What move should she have made, do you think? If you're a Mackenzie shoot.
If I'm Mackenzie, I put up Rubina and Chemo. The reason why I put up Rubina and Chemo is you've had, although you're not as tight as you guys were earlier in the game, you've been working you've been working with Leah. Leah has Angela's ear, which means you have a 2 on that side. I'm looking at my 3 that I have with Chelsea and with Cam, but I'm pretty sure they're a final 2. At the very least, I know that Chelsea is taking Cam over me, which means I need to leave my options open at 5. And if I'm trying to leave my options open at 5, Leah and Angela are the best bet I have because both of them will put up Chelsea and Cam before me.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to think about it that way. And if she gets to 5 and her or Leah or Angela wins the HoH, they can take them out at that point. Or if Mackenzie's the HoH at 5, she can decide what side she wants to be on. Like,
I think that makes the most sense in the time that we're in. I think you're right. I think you're hitting the nail right on the head because with those 2 being up, Rubina and Chemo, you continue to whittle down that side.
Yes.
And you just saved Angela last week. You have Leah in your ear on having your back. You have Chelsea and Cam. You're putting yourself in a position that we are all going to snuff out Chemo or Rubina, whichever one's left, because we say, look, now they have 2 votes in jury for sure.
Yes.
We don't want them swooping up the other 2 votes and sticking around here, so we got to get them going. That's the best move for Mackenzie.
Yeah, Mackenzie is not, and I think this has been a thread that has happened all season, and I'm disappointed in it because I thought she'd be more of a gamer, but she is very much playing a week-to-week game. What is going to benefit me most this week?
Hold on. I want to hold you there because I think Tasha in the chat is right. I think that MJ believes that the showman's accusation screwed up her game way back when. So I think she's trying to
behind the 8 ball, and it put her on the outs.
Correct, and I think she's trying to get her get back from then.
Yeah, but like, I can understand holding a grudge, and like now is the time to take that grudge out. Mm-hmm. But it's not necessarily helping you long term. And this is what I was saying is that I feel like she's playing a week-to-week game because she's doing what's ever best for her in that moment rather than trying to set herself up. Because realistically, she shouldn't have used the veto to get Quinn out either. She should have used Quinn to take out Chelsea.
Yeah, if she wanted to work against Chelsea, yeah. But also she had Angela dead to rights right then.
Yes. If Angela is such a priority to take out, take her out then. Why are you saving her to get a quote unquote bigger target in Quinn when if you get rid of Angela, you have a much better 3 with Quinn, Leah, and yourself than you do with Angela, who's a loose cannon. It doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
correct. Well, CJ, before we get into spoilers, gotta hit them rankings. You know I love them rankings. As of this episode, I need you to rank least likely to win to most likely to win.
All right, least likely to win is T-Core because she went home.
She already gone. She
She
already
already
gone.
gone. After that, still Angela is on the
Yep.
bottom.
Mhm.
I think at this point is probably Leah next. After Leah, I think it is Rubina. After Rubina, I think it's Cam. Actually, no, I think it's Leah, then Cam, then Rubina. But they're like 4 and 4A. I don't think either of them really have a prayer. I think top 3, I think you have Chemo.
Remind me to
Then you have,
mention Cameron Rabin in a minute in the
yeah,
spoiler section.
I have Chemo at 3, but I think there's a large gap between 3 and 2.
Okay.
I think Mackenzie is 2. I think Chelsea is 1.
Okay. I think for me, Leah's on the Angela's on the bottom.
Yes.
Like, there's no way Angela can win this game.
She's drawing dead because she hasn't done it. Like it's wild to say that somebody that has won 2 HOHs and a veto has done nothing for themselves to help them win the game. But that's how abysmal her social game has been.
Next is Leah. Especially after the conversation T-Core had with Rubina, I don't see Leah getting the votes unless she's sitting next to Angela.
Yes.
Next, I have Cam as well. I don't know how he can garner 4 votes.
I don't either.
Unless he's sitting next to Leah, because with T-Core saying that she's not voting for Leah, that's 3 plus Chelsea. Next, I have Rubina as well. After that is when I have Mackenzie, actually. Because I think with Mackenzie here, I think Mackenzie could not beat Chemo if she's sitting next to Chemo. I think Quinn votes for Chemo. I think Angela votes for Chemo. I think T-Core and Rubina vote for Chemo.
It's funny because I think T-Core and Rubina vote for Chemo. I could see Angela going for Chemo, but I think if Chelsea and Cam, Leah, and Quinn would vote for Mackenzie, I think Cam and Leah would vote for Mackenzie because they like her. I think Quinn and Chelsea would respect the game that she played.
Okay.
And that's why I think if she's sitting next to Chemo, she wins. If she's sitting next to Rubina, it might be 5-2 for her at that point.
Okay, I can see that. Next, I have Chemo at 2. And then far and away, I have Chelsea.
Yes.
I think Chelsea beats anyone she's sitting next to. I think even if she's sitting next to Chemo, I think T-Core and Rubina vote for Chelsea.
I don't know about that. Maybe. I don't know. I could see, I think Chemo gets at least 1 vote at that point.
Yeah. Maybe Rubina. I know that I think T-Core votes for Chelsea, Mac, Cam, Quinn.
It's funny because, Chemo has just been a pawn all of this game, and we're talking about him having a pretty good chance of winning, but it's strictly based off of his social game and people liking him because he hasn't really done anything of impact in the game. Like, the only thing he has won was the very first AI comp. He hasn't won anything since. So you're not talking about him being like a physical or comp threat in this game. So people are keeping him around because they like him, which is that enough for you to win $750,000? Maybe. They seem to like him a lot.
Yeah. It's going to be it's interesting how it's breaking down. it's even more interesting after these spoilers. If you're ready for the spoilers, give us a few seconds. If you're not trying to get the spoilers, get on out of here, y'all. We're gonna give y'all 15 seconds to get on out here. Join us again next Monday as me and CJ break down everything that happened this week in the Big Brother house. If you want to hear some Survivor coverage, check us out on Thursday when Kylie will be here with Robbie. And maybe a special guest as they break down what is going on in Survivor this week too. I might pop up. I don't know. I'll talk about I went to a premiere party with Rome. I'll tell you about that later.
Nice.
Jelinski was there too. My boy Jelinski. Wendell was there. All the people I love. You know what I'm saying? Rome watches the show, by the way. He's a big fan of the show.
Nice.
Not ours. I don't know if he watches ours, but he watches Survivor. All right, get on out of here. About 5 more seconds. All right, CJ, hit it.
Man, I thought they'd never leave.
Correct, CJ. So as we know, let me set this up for you. Mackenzie is the HOH. Angela and Kimo on the block. Veto was played. Veto was won by Mackenzie.
All the power.
All the power. Obviously, if I put them up, I'm probably keeping them the same.
Apparently, that was like a 7-hour veto comp, too. So I'm very curious what it's going to be.
And apparently, Mac blew them all out the water. MJ smoked them.
Yeah, I'm very curious what this comp is going to be.
Apparently, Angela and Kimo timed out. Cam did the third worst.
Do you think it's BB Comics?
It might be. Last year, weren't they the same week?
So they did BB Comics week because they had the 4 themes last season.
That's right.
But you don't necessarily have to do a comic week to do comics. And BB Comics is usually near the end of the game. So BB Comics can take a long time. So I'm wondering if it's that.
They haven't mentioned anybody's comics, so I don't think so.
Yeah.
But CJ, as I said, Mackenzie's HOH. Psych, Chelsea's HOH. So let me tell you how the week is going. So after she won the veto, she obviously said, I'm not using the veto because I won the veto. That's when Chelsea said, time to get to work. Chelsea tells her, it's got to be Leah. Now, as we saw in the episode, she's against putting up Leah because she wants to just go with Leah going, just not at her hand, not on her watch.
Yeah, Leah can go, but it's not going to be my fault.
Correct. And Chelsea said, cool. How about though she goes on your watch? And she says, no. I don't want that to happen. And she says, listen, she's been saying stuff about you. Max, she was cool to voting you out. Mackenzie's like, what? And then Mackenzie says, now CJ, this is important. Leah has been having buyer's remorse. She's been like, man, I should have did the plan all along. I should have put up Chelsea next to T-Core, and then Chelsea would have went home.
Yep.
She's been having a bit of buyer's remorse since then. The reason that's important is because since she's been feeling that way internally, she's expressed that to Rubina.
Which I don't know why she would share with Rubina, of all people, after targeting her 3.
Correct. So Rubina kept that little nugget in her pocket. Boop, boop. And after that veto competition, she went to Mackenzie and said, hey, man, so I don't know about Leah, but Leah said that she wishes that she had put up Chelsea and sent Chelsea up out of here. Mackenzie's like, what? She wanted to target Chelsea? Didn't you have Chelsea coming up there saying this? She was willing to vote you out. Got Mackenzie thinking. Mackenzie's like, I don't want to do it, but should I put up Leah?
Should you?
Chelsea's like, yeah. I mean, it's up to you. Yeah. And then she's like, but I'll lose a jury vote.
Okay.
And then Chelsea said, no, though. You'll gain 5 jury votes, you see, because you will get the respect of everyone else, because you'll get T-Core's jury vote, Rubina Chemo's jury vote, me and Cam, because we respect you even more for making such a big move and taking out Leah. Now, mind you, CJ, all week she says she wasn't going to put up Leah because of jury management. She literally said that out loud to several people. Because of jury management, I wouldn't put up Leah. But then now she's like, big brain, better jury management, 5-1. I lose 1 vote, gain 5.
How can I lose?
How can I lose? Now, mind you, as you know, Leah's not coming for Mackenzie. She's coming for Chelsea.
And why would you ever take out someone who's not coming after you? Like,
Because
as the number, it's the same argument as having to target a trio.
Yeah.
The trio is never going to put each other up. And as the numbers go down, the trio becomes more powerful.
Yeah.
As the numbers go down, you need people who are not going to put you up.
That's conventional math. That's not the math we're doing here. Okay?
That's
not the math we're doing
Big Brother math?
We're doing Big Brother math. 5 votes in jury is better than 1 vote outside of jury. Duh. I need that 1 vote. This is probably the move.
So dumb.
You ever seen the movie Focus?
No.
It has Will Smith and Margot Robbie. I had never seen the movie either. I'll make sure it's clear. I hadn't seen the movie either, but I saw this scene on the internet yesterday. It's the gambling scene, right? The movie came out a while ago, so I'm not spoiling nothing for you if I tell you what happened. But they're in apparently Will Smith is a con man, and Margot Robbie's learning to be a con person too, right? They're in a box. They make a small bet. They're in a box next to this like rich businessman. He says, I went in on that bet too. He comes over. He does the bet. Little fun, like $10 or whatever, small bet. He says, let's bet on something else. Because like the bet was, CJ, they're at a football game. The bet was how many guys would look at this girl's ass when she walks up the stairs.
Okay.
As she was walking down the aisle. Other like to get some beer or whatever. They all get the number, and whoever was closest won, right? So you do that bet. He's like, that was fun. Let's do bet. Apparently, this guy's a rich guy, but a notorious gambler. They do another bet. He does a bet with Will Smith for like $100. Will Smith loses the bet. He says, let's do another bet. They do several more bets till they get to a bet for like $1 million, which is like all the money that they got in this heist. Okay.
All right.
Will Smith loses the bet.
Well, that's a shame.
He then says, double or nothing. I'm good for it. You pick anybody in on the field, playing or not playing, and I'll guess the number. The guy's like, that's a crazy bet.
That is a crazy
bet. But I love it. I'll do it. So he starts looking at the binoculars. He's like, you know what? That bet's a little crazy. I'm not doing it. He says, you know what? Will Smith says, I'll have her guess the number that you're picking. Anybody out there. He's like, that's even crazier. Fine, if you insist. He looks out there in the crowd. He picks the guy out. Margot Robbie's like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. This is terrible. You're losing all of our money, our con man money. He's like, trust me. Finally, she says, okay, she'll do it. She looks in the crowd. She has binoculars. She looks out. Then she sees a man wearing number 55 facing the box and like has a water bottle. He's on the sideline on the team. Right, CJ?
Yeah.
She says, it's the number 55. The Asian dude says, unbelievable. You got it. It was number 55. They win the money. Amazing, right?
Okay.
They get in the car. She's like, how did I do that? Because the guy that was on the sideline, the reason she picked 55 was because it was one of the other con men guys wearing number 55, big dude blending in with the football players.
Yeah.
She said, how did you know he was going to pick him? Will Smith says, we've been priming him to guess 55 all day from the moment he got into town. And so, like, you see him arriving in town, the number at the end of a truck that drove by had 55 on it, and it had a picture of the big dude wearing the number 55. His hotel room was room number 55. Like, there was 55 hanging from the other thing. There was 55 all over the place. The inside lining of his jacket, of Will Smith's jacket, had a 5-5 type pattern. Like, there was a whole, he's like, we've been priming him to say 55. So then when he looks on the sidelines, he saw a familiar face subconsciously wearing number 55 and turned straight at him at the camera. We've been priming him to 55 all day. And she's like, oh my gosh, what if he didn't guess 55? He said, I would have doubled it until he guessed 55. That long story was because that's what happened here. Chelsea has been laying the groundwork for it to be Leah for a week. Last week, when she wanted it not to be T-Core, she was like, Leah's the biggest problem. I mean, Leah's been kind of coming for us. Leah's an issue. Leah. She says it to Cam, she says it to Mackenzie. Then Cam is like, man, I don't know about Leah. Leah's kind of tough. He says that to Mackenzie separately. And then after Mackenzie wins the veto, Rabina talks to her first. Then Chelsea. Then she talks to Cam separately. And Cam's like, yeah, I think Leah might be the one I'm most worried about. So then she comes around and says, I think I need to put up Leah. This groundwork has been being laid for much longer than anyone thought, CJ.
Oh, you saw it last week. You saw them whisper it, but it's just funny because it's like, although all of that groundwork has been laid, it's not what's best for my game. It's best
not
for
at all
our game. But when we get down to these numbers, it's not about our game anymore. It's about my game.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
But she's doing what's best for our game.
Yeah.
Because Chelsea made sure she was doing best for our Chelsea's game. Because Leah's an imminent threat to Chelsea.
Yes.
So she needs to go.
Yes.
And so today, officially, Mackenzie put Leah on the block next to Angela.
Tears. So many tears.
So many tears. People don't understand how this happened. People, as in Angela, does not understand how we got here.
I don't understand how Angela got here either.
Angela's going to make it through another week, CJ.
I've talked about this before, though. Like, I'm real glad that the veto was used on Chemo and not on Angela, because I wasn't ready to buy another computer.
Yeah. She's going to sit next to Leah. This is the worst place she wanted to be. What's his face? Quinn told her when she first used the veto on Angela that this is, he foretold that this is where she would end up.
Yeah. Quinn was her biggest ally and her biggest shield. And when he went home, curtains.
Well, before he went home, on his HoH, he told Leah, if you use this on Angela, there's going to be a time when you're going to be sitting on the block next to Angela and you're going to be the one going home.
Yeah. Anytime Angela's on the block, she's always like, it's a back burner thing. I can take care of Angela when I want to take care of Angela. Let me take care of whatever I perceive to be the biggest threat in that moment. Angela's probably going home Thursday too, but it's because it's a double and no one has to think about it.
Correct.
But Speaking right now, you can go.
Double eviction time, CJ. My girl Chelsea's safe. 100% can't be touched.
Yeah, and it makes the only way Chelsea gets in trouble during the double is if Angela somehow wins, and the competitions that they have for doubles are not conducive to Angela's skill set.
Even if Angela were to win, Chelsea's not in trouble.
You don't think Angela will put her up?
Yes.
Who do you think Angela puts up?
Who's voting her out?
Who's voting out Leah?
No. Who's voting out Chelsea?
That's true.
Chemo and Rubina want Chelsea in their final three. Mackenzie and Cam want Chelsea in their final three. Mackenzie and Rubina talked today about how they want the final three to be them two and Chelsea. Who's voting her out?
That's interesting, but it also goes back to what I've been talking about amongst the men of we need to stick together because at a point we're going to become expendable to these women.
Yeah. I mean, they've made it past. They're going to be two women going home.
Yeah.
Chelsea is pretty safe, I think.
Unless they come around on the fact that I can't win if I'm sitting next to her.
Speaking of can't win. So today, there's a little clip today. Cam and Rubina were outside chit-chatting, and it was the funniest shit. They're just laughing. Cam's like, I can't believe we're still here. And she's like, I can't believe we're still here either, and I don't know how we're still here. And then they're laughing. And Cam's like, I thought I'd be home by mid-August. You know what I'm saying? I thought I'd be home. I told everybody, I'll be gone for a little bit. And I thought it was going to be like a month break from my phone. Like, this was a good time to not be on the phone. Rubina's like, I thought the same thing. I thought it was going to be like one of the first ones out. And I was cool with it. It was going to be a little break from my phone. And then I can get back to doing what I do. And they're laughing. And then they're like, then Cam says, the worst part, it's not like I'm going to win. And then she says, what? He's like, I'm not going to win. And she laughs and she says, I don't think I am either. And it's the self-awareness.
If you're self-aware enough to know you're not going to win, then who do you think is going to win? And if you think that person is going to win, you need to take that person out so you think you can win.
I don't know if that's the case. I've now been in this house for 10 weeks. Right?
Okay.
I've looked around and it's kind of late.
Yeah, but you can do enough work right now to sit next to someone who's done less than you and then win. It's the Gabler situation but it's the Gabler situation from Survivor. He won based on something he did when there was 11 people left in the game because they felt like the people next to him didn't do anything. You don't necessarily have to do a lot. You just got to do more than the person you're sitting next to.
So if I'm Cam, I look up. Mackenzie's won several competitions, like 5 competitions.
She's got to go home.
Leah, who we're about to send home right now, is going home right now.
Yeah, but nobody wants to vote for her, so it's probably in my best interest for her to stay.
I'm one vote. And that goes against my number one ally.
Chelsea?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll lose Chelsea's. I'll truly lose Chelsea's vote then.
I got to get other people.
Because remember when Chelsea sat down with me and told me that I was going to pick this white girl over me? That she said that she felt like that? And then I'm going to actively vote against sitting home, the girl she orchestrated put on the block on this focus plan that we just all did?
Yes. Because at a point, it's about the money. He's not going to date her anyway.
I'm not talking about dating her. I'm talking about.
Well, I am because Zingbot was.
I'm talking about the money. Like legitimately, I'm talking about the money. I can't betray her and then think I'm gonna get her vote. That's one less vote if I was to sit in the final 2 next to Leah.
So you think she votes for Leah over Cam?
Plus, I sit here and I look at the math. I'm sitting next to Leah. Quinn's voting for Leah.
Okay.
Mackenzie's gonna vote for Leah. Angela's gonna vote for Leah. That's already 3. And then I betrayed Chelsea.
So who can Cam sit next to and win? Angela?
Maybe Angela. No, he can sit next to Angela. Me and you know that. But that's why he sits there and says to Rubina, even though he's like not joking and they're laughing about it, he says, worst part, I'm not gonna win. Like I'm still here and I'm not gonna win.
It's funny because like that's why I said there's a gap for me between everyone else in the final 2 of Mackenzie and Chelsea, because I think they might dog walk them if they're not sitting against each other, if they're sitting against anyone else.
And that's what I feel like too, which is why it's like that's why I like laughed about it. I want to talk about it because Cam, the self-awareness, of Cam to know, listen, man, I have not done enough to win this game.
Right.
And I can try to boogie right now, but there's the uphill battle is steep because it's been 10 weeks. It's been 10 weeks and 3 people are on the jury already. Like, yeah. I haven't done enough, but and that's why it was just so like it was so funny because Rubino was laughing. She says, "I don't think I can win either." They're sitting there and they're like, "Matt, they weren't even thinking about the votes. They're just like based on what we've done so far." Because they just said, and then Rubino laughs. He says, "I mean, look at us. We're here still, and we don't even know how we're still here. So like we're here and not because of us." And then Cam said, "Well, we aligned. It's who we aligned with." And she's like, "Right, we have both aligned with really good groups."
It's funny because they both aligned with really good groups, but it goes back to what I was saying earlier about like just by being likable, you can make it pretty far in this game.
And that's what Cam says. He says, "Well, yeah, think about it. That means we've been playing pretty good games." And Ravina says, "No, we haven't.
we just been likable, and the right people liked us."
And then he's like, "No, like we beat out 9 people," and she's like, "Yeah," and he's like, "By some people's standards, that means we're playing pretty good." And then she's like, "Yeah, I mean, I guess by those standards, but like I said, we don't even know how we got here." It was a pretty funny clip. It was a pretty funny clip I saw on Twitter. I thought that was hilarious.
It's rough.
Now, Tosh is right. In the chat, Chelsea and Cam were talking about getting rid of MJ.
And this is why she should not have put up Leah.
Rabina and Chemo also were talking to Chelsea about how MJ is the biggest threat.
Which is why
she's now won more comps than Tucker.
But this is why she needed Leah there. Because Leah and Angela would have had her back. Because they're votes. They're votes for her to stay.
Angela will not be in the final 2 chairs.
No. I don't think anybody takes her at this point.
Correct. I also think that Chelsea, Cam, I think Cam is actually at this point cool losing to Chelsea.
I felt like all of them were cool losing to T-Core because she's such a good person.
Yeah, and I think that Chemo and Rubino would like to get to the final 2, but if they're not in the final 2, they would like Chelsea to be there with one of them.
It's just wild to me that, like, I can't, if I'm sitting in this house day after day after day, I can't accept that I'm okay with losing to someone without trying to do something about it.
CJ, if Chelsea doesn't win the game, the award show loses. Okay? If Chelsea doesn't win the game, the award show loses. That's it. That's the truth of it. That's the truth of it. Some people ask Chelsea what would happen if she didn't win this game. I guess we'll never know. Let's see what happens. Man, award show Kanye was wild.
You know what's funny? Like the way that you just laid it out and everything. I think the only real shot we have at Chelsea going home right now is at 4 or 2.
4 or 3.
Well, yeah, down to 2. 4 down to 3, 3 down to 2, because it only takes one person to make that decision.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Write her the check now, baby. Cut the check. Send her on her way. Get Kevin another win. It's been a long time since I had a draft win here on For the Fans.
Do you think if Mackenzie pulls out all of the vetoes from now to the end, and it's her and Chelsea at the end, she might be able to win?
Nah, man. Because I think you get the 3 and Cam. I think she gets Cam. I think Chelsea gets Cam regardless.
So if it's Mackenzie against anyone else, do you think she wins?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Do you have Mackenzie in the draft?
I have Mackenzie and Leah left.
So you have Mackenzie left?
I hate watching my people. Like, I started out with those 2 plus Tucker and Lisa. I got Tucker and Lisa feuding day 1. And I got Tucker feuding with the entire house. And now I got Mackenzie Lee, I'm like, okay, they're working together. Like, cool, 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 cool. Oh, and then today happened. I'm like, all right, Mackenzie, let's go. Cool, 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 cool.
I don't even know who I picked. I just said all in on Chelsea. Push them cards in. I'm ready to go. That's who I want. That's who I'm picking. And I've been riding. And Chelsea, she has not disappointed.
She's been doing real good, and I can't get over her jealousy with Cam, which is painting my negative picture towards her.
Mm.
But then Zingbot eviscerated her, and now she's got a little bit of sympathy for me again.
Thank you, Zingbot, for bringing him back around. She's been the best player in the game. People said because the cast is dumb. Yeah, I mean, I feel like if someone is doing well, it makes the cast look super dumb. I think Big Brother 10 cast looks super dumb next to Dan. I think Big Brother 20 cast looked super dumb against Tyler. I think the Big Brother 16 cast looked dumb against Derek. When someone's playing a really good game, the other people just look dumb.
Yeah.
And they make bad decisions. But like some decisions are like shaped by the good player, like this one.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I think that Chelsea would be good on any season.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Mackenzie would be good on any season because game-wise, she's not very smart. She's just doing well with comps, and she aligned with the right people.
I think Mackenzie on a second chance type situation, maybe decent. Maybe. If she played again.
I feel like she's playing like someone that has never watched the show.
I think she's someone who's never watched the show.
Probably.
Mm-hmm. But I think this is the end for Leah. We'll talk about Leah's boot on Monday, I believe. You can give your last thoughts on your second to last person that's left in the game. That's what I think that we're heading towards. But we shall see. Oh, we also will talk about who also went home in the double, the new HoH, all those good things we'll be talking about on Monday. CJ, got anything else?
I did some Big Brother math. I was hoping, maybe we can get like back-to-back doubles because that's always fun. When you just like, everybody get up out of here. But the season ends on October 13th, which means this is the only double we're getting this season.
Yeah. I mean, we've had the AI Arena, which has been fun. The season's still been fun.
Yeah.
I'm having a good time.
And I want to see what Evil Ainsley's up to.
Yeah, I want to see what Evil Ainsley's trying to do, trying to take over the world. It's been a good time. You can find CJ at Keyboard Sarcasm on socials. You can find me at KG Fury. Shout out to all Cam's dogs at the crib. Shout out to them. I mean, what else can you do, Coming to you from outside of the Big Brother house. Good night.
Zing!